Hi, I'm Lawrence, the instructor of Soc AO3, Introduction to Sociology at the University of Toronto Scarborough. And in this video, I'm going to teach you 3 foundational theories which shape how sociologists view the world. The first is functionalism, spearheaded by Auguste Comte, and then followed through by key figures such as Emile Durkheim and Talcott Parsons. This theoretical school emphasizes how social institutions operate best when they're in sync. Responding to Enlightenment values such as autonomy and free will, and then looking at social upheavals that occurred as a consequence of these values being lived out, such as the French Revolution in the case of Durkheim, where faith in the state or nation greatly diminished while the significance of individual choice greatly amplified. These thinkers argued that the primary cause of individuals' pain and misfortune stem from the unsynchronized functioning of their society's core institutions, such as the economy, the family, and other faith-based institutions. For these thinkers, while social change can indeed be desirable, one must first look at the entire social system before considering social change. What latent or unintended impacts might a change in, say, physician-assisted suicide have in society? Might it impact the family? Always asking questions such as these when considering social change leads these thinkers to often be deemed conservative, as they are, by definition, interested in conserving the equilibrium held between the many institutions that provide the foundation and, in Durkheim's words, the social facts on which individuals' actions depend. The next way you can understand how sociologists view the world is by looking through the lens of conflict theory, traced back to the work of Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, and then further refined by thinkers such as Antonio Gramsci. Conflict theory responds to functionalism by stating that social change must be emphasized due to the presence of competition and inequality across societies. Marx, for instance, challenged thinkers of his day for remaining in the realm of philosophy. With a growing divide between the haves and have-nots in his contemporary London, who he termed the bourgeoisie and the proletariat, he found it quite hypocritical for members of the financial and intellectual elite to often frame people's pain and suffering as separate from factors like, well, access to meaningful work and education. This theme of criticism of the status quo was carried further by the key sociologist, who everyone in my class knows likes motorcycles, C. Wright Mills, who coined the term the sociological imagination to begin a call to arms for sociologists to raise people's consciousnesses to the ways in which society impacts our thoughts, emotions, and opportunities for both happiness and misery. This he framed against the tendency, he noted, of sociologists of his time to either build up grand theoretical systems on the one hand, hey Parsons, or engage in meticulous but largely meaningless empirical research on the other hand. Hey, oh, I forgot your name, sorry. What he termed grand theorizing and abstract empiricism, respectively. All in all, conflict theorists emphasize the role of social strife in shaping individuals' lives and advocate for detailed examination of how various institutions, norms, beliefs, and other social factors in a given society come to make this strife more or less causal of inequality and other undesirable outcomes. A third way, and I promise the last one for this video, of seeing how sociologists view the social world is looking through the lens of symbolic interactionism. Key in this school are the thinkers Max Weber, George Herbert Mead, and Charles Horton Cooley. Responding to both functionalist and conflict theorists, symbolic interactionists take a more pragmatic or practical approach to the social world. How do individuals, as humans, interpret their worlds? By talking to people and observing them, we can gain access to their thought processes, and in turn, come to see how the social world shapes action. For example, Irving Goffman examined how individuals framed their experiences according to tacitly held social norms about acceptable and unacceptable conduct. He noted, for example, that individuals would come to accept certain behaviors as totally acceptable in one sphere of their lives, but totally unacceptable in others. For instance, an individual may tolerate a person scolding them for talking in a lecture hall or an opera house, but respond nastily if similarly scolded at a nightclub. Rather than make grand claims about the nature and functioning of society like functionalists, or take a position grounded in the presence of inequality and conflict like conflict theorists, symbolic interactionists are more interested, well, in how individuals find meaning in their everyday lives. And aren't we all? What they term subjective interpretation by way of the use of mental representations. In other words, how individuals base their interactions on what they've learned through social experience. Well, this brings me to the end of the lesson, but if you want to know more, keep checking out my channel. Up next is contemporary theory, where we see a broad array of sociologists who take up the perennial questions raised by functionalists, conflict theorists, and symbolic interactionists. In doing so, they develop theories in the attempt to see how inequality manages to endure over time, even though societies continue to change. Goodbye, and thanks for watching.